Now, in today's watch world, it is very difficult to tell a $10,000 dive watch on the wrist of a stranger to a $100 Invicta on the wrist of another stranger. This is just plain fact when it comes to wearing a wristwatch in 2022. A lot of watches are extremely similar, have the same cases or the same case shapes, have the same aesthetics, and it's very difficult to tell one high-end watch from another low-end watch. More people are wearing watches these days than I would say about 10 years ago, so if you want to make an impact, wear something unique. Today we are looking at this unique watch from Treehut. Now, specifically, the watch I'm looking at today that I have in my hands right now is the Atlas Maple Gray Marble. It is the maple because the wood inlay in both the bezel as well as the links is maple hardwood, and the gray marble dial is right there front and center, extremely beautiful on this automatic watch. It's nice to see a wooden inlay marble dial watch with an automatic movement. Now, I can say that I've never really seen a marble dialed watch, but if I know companies, especially micro-brand watch companies, they're very quick to just toss a quartz movement in their watch and sell it for whatever price they wish. I love the fact that they do offer this watch in an automatic, and I have that right here in my hand. There's just something romantic about an automatic watch that's beating right there. You can see at the 9 o'clock position in that open heart dial configuration, that beating balance wheel, keeping this thing alive and ticking very, very nicely. Now, what are my thoughts on this marble dial maple inlay watch? Now, when I first looked at this watch, I can say that I've never really owned a wooden watch until this last summer when I got an Alpha wood watch from Maui, Hawaii. And honestly, it is a quartz movement, which I'm glad this is not, and it was very comfortable on the wrist. Very light indeed on the wrist until I got into a car accident and the bracelet exploded because it is koa wood, which is a softer wood, and it went flying in pieces. The watch itself is perfectly good, but I need to repair it, and I will be doing a review on that watch in December. Now, I love this watch because it mixes both steel and wood, so it gives you the strength of the steel, but that wonderful aesthetic of that maple. Again, maple inlay on the bezel, which is very nicely done, and a maple inlay on that center link of that stainless steel bracelet. Now, one of the things that I first thought when I looked at this watch is, well, that wood is going to stretch out over time because it is the center link of this watch. But then I really looked at the pattern of the links, and Treehut already thought about that, because if you look at this 5-link configuration, the pins go across the steel completely and the wood just sits comfortably on the inside. So the only stretching will be of the steel, which is really, really negligible in the future. Now, I do love the fact that it does have this really beautiful gray black finish on the watch, and it gives it a nice grunge sort of subdued look, which I love because it really does bring out the other details of the watch, to include the inlay. Now, if this was just a bright stainless steel watch, which I'm sure they have, it would kind of overwhelm the maple inlay and you would see a lot less of it, to include this beautiful marble dial. Now, my personal opinions on this watch is, if you want a unique watch, this is one to get. No two marble dials are the same, just like no maple inlay is going to be the same, whether or not it's going to be on the links of the bracelet or the bezel. No two pieces in Treehut are going to be the same. So you can buy one Atlas Maple Gray Marble watch, which is again what this is, and then you can buy a second one and they are not going to be the same. That's really cool, especially when you're dealing with the watch community where you have millions of different types of watches out there and you want to really stand out. Now let's talk about the specs of this watch. The watch is 43 millimeters in diameter, so it is a slightly larger watch, but it wears more like a 40 millimeter watch on the wrist because of the short lug to lugs. Now it is 13 millimeters, slightly thicker, but again, it doesn't really wear like a large watch. If you don't want to wear this bracelet, you can change it out because the lug width on this is 22 millimeters, so it is a common lug width. Not common enough for chase straps, so I can't toss one of my straps on there, but 22 millimeters you can find anywhere. Again, let's talk about this wooden bracelet, and the only negative thing I can basically see about this watch moving forward. Now, we as human beings tend to sweat, and when we sweat, we don't just sweat water, we sweat salt. And with that, you can get salt rings on your shirts, you know, those nasty white rings that you see after playing a game of basketball in the LA summer. This is, of course, based out of California. So in that hot LA summer, you have those white sweat rings around your collar, around your underarms, and it does tend to stain. The only thing I can see about this watch is the fact that the wood, if you wear this in very muggy weather and you do sweat, will stain. I'm not going to pretend like it won't. All wood stains. I love woodworking. I do a lot of woodworking in my free time, and unless it's sealed properly, and this is like a raw wood, it will stain when it comes to your sweat. So I would treat this bracelet like I would a high-end crocodile strap or a leather strap that you don't want to wear that will ruin the leather. Water and sweat will not keep this band looking like it does, but maybe you do want that nice aged look on your wood. If you want to keep it looking new, stay out of the hot sun. It does have a butterfly clasp, which is not my favorite, and anybody who's watched this channel for any period of time knows the only reason I don't like a butterfly clasp is because I can't get it sized to my wrist perfectly. That being said, the links on these are not overly sized links. They're quite small, so it shouldn't be very hard to size it to your wrist. They are screw-in, and again, it's nice that they offer you a little kit here so you don't have to purchase a screwdriver yourself to change out the links. That's good to see. Most companies don't offer it. I'm glad to see that this company does. Now let's talk about this marble dial just a little bit more. Now the marble dial is housed underneath a crystal. The crystal is not sapphire, slightly depressed on that, not really a big deal. Don't really think it's AR coated because you can see it does have quite a bit of reflection right there under the light. Again, not really a big deal. A lot of microbands don't offer sapphire, which to me is sort of a con when I have my list of pros and cons because sapphire is not very expensive. There's no reason why your watch shouldn't have a sapphire crystal on it. Not necessarily on the back see-through window. That's not necessary, but if you have a watch, especially on the face, you want it to be more scratch resistant unless you have something special like a Omega Speedmaster, right? That's designed for a specific job and it has a Hesse light so that it impacts and it doesn't shatter in space. Well, this watch isn't going to space. So a nice piece of sapphire so it doesn't scratch with just basic normal wear and tear would be nice to see. Love the fact that it does have that open heart, and that open heart is showing that balance wheel beating in this NH38 movement. Now, a movement from Seiko means it is going to be a workhorse, and it's nice to see again that they have an automatic movement. Me specifically, I wouldn't necessarily have that open case back because NH38s, NH35s, any NH movement is not designed to be pretty, it's designed to work well. So this watch will work well, it will tell the time well moving forward in the future. So it's good that they use a nice workhorse movement. It's nice to see that they use the proper NH38 and not an NH35 that has a ghost date wheel. So I'm glad they're at least doing these things in the right manner. Now the wood, they say, is sustainably sourced. So that's actually good. If you are a type of person who believes that we leave carbon footprints on the planet, that we need to have a low carbon footprint, that we need to use sustainable materials, especially since this company is out of California, this may be the watch for you. Now, I don't choose my watches based on sustainability. I choose my watches based on price and based on quality. This watch does have pretty high quality for what I can see. And honestly, when I did the macro shots, because this dial is so dark, it was very difficult for me to do any macro photography on this watch. So that was slightly depressing. Now you can see that the indices around are applied on through a painting process, but it's done very well. They're all raised, and it has a very nice texture. The only thing you see on the dial is Treehut underneath the 12 and automatic just above the 6, and I love the Roman numerals around the outside. Really gives it a nice classy look. They use basic black sword hands, which I understand why they did. This whole watch is subdued, but it does make the dial just a little harder to read. Not really a big deal. Still love the look of this watch. When the hands are in any other place, it's not very difficult, especially out in the sun. But, you know, when you get in any type of area that has low light, it is a little harder to read. Now, one of the things that I really do like about this watch, like I said, is every watch is completely different. Every watch is completely unique. This watch is unique to me because this is my watch. If I were to buy the exact same Atlas maple gray marble watch, it's not going to look the same. It's going to show up in the same type of packaging. It's going to show up with the same UPC or Q number, but the watch is going to be completely different. Now, I can't say the same thing about my Rolex Kermit, right? Or well, not necessarily my Rolex Kermit because it has a bezel that has worn over time. But if I were to say my Rolex Hulk, which is a ceramic bezel, that thing looks the same as any other ceramic Hulk out there. This, not the same. Nobody else has this same watch. Now, this watch is not cheap. Anything designed or based out of the US is going to be slightly more expensive, similar to if it was a Swiss watch. That's just the price you pay to get something that is based out of the US, which to me isn't really a big deal. I love the fact that some companies are out of the US as opposed to straight out of China. This watch is just under $500 at $469, so it is a little more expensive than a lot of other micro brand watches. Let's go ahead and toss this on the wrist. Now here's the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist, and you can see that it doesn't fit overly large on the wrist itself. Like I said, this lug to lug is slightly smaller, and because that lug to lug is slightly smaller, it actually wears more like a 40mm watch. Again, really love the bracelet on this. It's extremely comfortable, again, but it's really hard to get it sized perfectly because of that butterfly clasp. Really love the look of this watch. If you look at the website that I will link down below, Treehut has so many watches in their arsenal that you're bound to find a watch that suits you perfectly. Now, not all their watches are almost $500. Some of their watches are just around $200. So take a look, and honestly, I would highly recommend, if you want something unique, grab a Treehut. Now, how do you guys feel about this watch? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Leave a comment down below. Again, just talking hands today, no intro and outro with the face. I got a lot of watch reviews coming up in the future, and this is just the easiest way to do this while I'm redesigning my YouTube studio. So guys, make sure you're doing one of a few things. One, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel, and make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell because I have a lot of videos coming up in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one.